I got you with the link.
Is that you, Road? Road?
Yeah.
Hey, what up?
I sent you the link on WhatsApp.
No, I had it already, but it looks a bit stuttery, doesn't it? I think on the stream it looks stuttery.
Welcome everyone. Thank you all for joining us today for this second half of our next-gen PC platform.
Yeah, I'm gonna switch it up a bit.
I loved seeing all of your excitement when we introduced the Ryzen.
They're just talking about the introduction anyway, so.
It was actually the most watched launch video in AMD.
Wait, what are you watching the one that I sent you?
I did end up finding it.
It's all about Big Navi.
Okay.
I'm really excited to show you the new.
Because the CEO is talking now.
Yeah, she's talking now, right?
RX 6000 series products. As you know, we brought the first generation of RDNA architecture to market in 2019 with the Radeon RX 5700 XT. And with the combined launch of the 5700 XT and the Ryzen 3000 series, AMD became the first company to introduce a high-performance CPU.
Yeah, it looks a bit stuttery.
And we delivered a winning
pretty sure I could fix that. Just give me a second.
Gaming performance, including CPU and GPU of the year in 2019 from PC Gamer. Now, 2020 is really the year of the gamer. I know many of you can't wait to get your hands on the next-gen consoles. Whether it's the Microsoft Xbox Series X and Series S, or the Sony PlayStation 5, we are so proud that AMD is enabling these incredible gaming experiences, which is why we like to say that AMD is where gaming begins. Now, earlier this month, I showed you our new AMD Ryzen 5000 series, the world's best gaming processor. Our next-gen Ryzen processor combines absolute performance leadership in single-threaded performance, gaming, and creative workloads with leadership performance per watt. And for millions of you, it's a drop-in upgrade to your existing AM4 motherboard. Now, as successful as we have been with Ryzen, many of you have asked us to compete at the highest end of gaming GPUs as well. And today, we're ready to show you exactly what we've been working on. I'm so excited to show you the Radeon RX 6000 series. It's absolutely the most powerful gaming GPU we've ever built. I think you'll be pretty pleased with what you see. I often talk about the fact that we're on a journey, and we are on a journey. Just like with our Zen CPU architecture, we're on a multi-year journey in GPUs with our RDNA architecture. We designed RDNA specifically for gaming, and our first-gen RDNA products delivered 50% better performance per watt over our GCN architecture. We wanted to take another big step with RDNA 2 and deliver another 50% generational improvement in perf per watt. And with RDNA 2, we also set the very ambitious goal to deliver leadership gaming performance. And now I'm very happy to show you for the first time, Big Navi. This is the chip at the heart of our high-end Radeon RX 6000 series. 26.8 billion transistors built with leading-edge 7nm process technology. Big Navi is our first product powered by RDNA 2. We have made incredible progress on the architectural front. And now let me turn it over to AMD fellow Laura Smith to give you more details on the architecture.
Thank you, Lisa. Our graphics architecture roadmap has a clear goal: gaming leadership across the ecosystem. The GCN was a great architecture, but we knew we needed to rethink graphics and build the best engine for the future. We wanted to build a set of technologies that game developers could use across all platforms. The first major step was RDNA, introduced last year. RDNA was a new architecture and used a 7-nanometer process node, which helped us with the large initial gains. We committed to you that our engineers had plans in the works for RDNA 2, and we would be back quickly with another significant improvement. By combining our expertise in CPU design, deep gaming history, and broad ecosystem partnerships, RDNA 2 is built to be the gaming architecture for all gamers across console, PC, and beyond. We had some very ambitious goals with RDNA 2. Significantly higher performance, 50% improvement in performance per watt, and new hardware features. Individually, each of these goals is challenging. When combined, they become extremely difficult because as you push performance, a natural side effect is more power. New features also mean more computation, further challenging both speed and power metrics. For RDNA 2, we made significant gains in all these areas. The compute unit is the core of the architecture. We advanced all aspects of the compute unit design, leveraging techniques first developed in CPUs. We deployed pervasive.
Feel free, man, anytime. We've been live since you joined.
Reimagined the pipeline to aggressively maximize
I saw you were still fixing up the video and stuff, so.
In combination, these elements
For some reason,
it looks good now, though.
Yeah, it was stuttering before. I don't know why, but I got it now.
Allowing them to be pushed faster.
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. You sound good.
All right, cool.
The amount of data,
I don't know if you saw, they actually I saw on the news recently that AMD actually bought I forgot the name. It starts with an X, like a chip maker recently.
With an
I guess to compete with Intel more and like Nvidia. I'll see if I find the article and send it to you.
Yeah, send it to me. Shout out to Raymond, who's actually in the chat. He did tell me this yesterday, and I never got a chance to look at it. But do they really need to compete with Intel? I mean, aren't they already ahead?
I mean, yeah, but like what the article was saying was that basically like Nvidia with their like attempted like ARM purchase, and now AMD with the purchase of that chip maker. It's like putting them in a better position to compete with Intel. I mean, apparently, like I've been hearing like really good things about their new desktop CPU lines and how they compare against the Intel 10 series. But I mean, I guess we'll see like how it compares against the 11 series, or well, I forgot the name of it. Is it Comet Lake or something that's supposed to be coming out early
Rocket
next
Lake?
Rocket Lake.
Rocket Lake.
Yeah. They have so many lake names that I'm not just not sure which one's which.
Features including DirectX Ray Tracing, variable rate shading, mesh shaders, and sampler feedback.
So they're talking about the RDNA 2. This is what's in the Xbox Series X. And the PS5 also has a variation of it. It's a custom chip based off of this. But from what I'm hearing, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna point out the direct storage API, which they're talking about now, which should be like pretty helpful for just PC. Like I know Nvidia had already kind of talked about that with their RTX IO, I think, that they introduced. And this is kind of like tapping into that same API to get the like game memory stuff directly from the hard drive instead of. Yeah.
So it relies less on memory. You don't have to store as much in the RAM.
Yeah, I mean it like removes some of that overhead where it like has to go through the CPU, then to the RAM, then to the GPU. So that'll be pretty interesting to see when games start taking advantage of that.
Right.
Allow me to introduce you.
Yo, I can't get those Robin icons out of my head with the R's on the front of the graphics card.
Yeah.
4K and below resolutions, and at the highest quality settings available. It comes with 72 compute units and runs with a game clock of over 2 gigahertz. This card features a
This is the exact
2.25
same
gigahertz
stage
boost clock that
that they
pushes some
did the
of the
CPU
highest
event at.
frequencies we've ever achieved. All
Yeah.
thanks to the incredible work done by our engineering
Well, I mean,
team.
not everyone can have presentation as quite as fancy as Apple's with their campus.
128 megabytes
That's
of
a
Infinity
very nice
cache
campus,
that
I
is
gotta
power
say.
efficient while driving the bandwidth needed for high resolution.
What is that? Is that a
With
cheat
60
code on his
gigabytes of blazing
T-shirt?
fast GDDR6 memory, you'll be ready for the most demanding high resolution games that you want to play. And we've delivered all of this incredible performance with a
I think so.
total
That gotta be
Some
a
sort of-
that's a GTA cheat code.
As you can see, the 6800 XT not
That's gotta
only
be like some
delivers
sort of
4K
cheat code
60
reference
frames
right
per
there.
second, but in most cases, it overperforms. We've been maxing
I'm genuinely
out all
curious
the
which
settings in
one.
games like Battlefield 5, Borderlands 3, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Guarantee
And
you
the
somebody's looking
performance
it up
has
right
just
now.
been
Yeah.
awesome to experience. Let's take a look at how the 6800 XT competes
All right,
head-to-head
I'm wondering
against the
if this
latest
is
offering from the competition.
6800
We
XT.
compare
Is that
their
the
best
highest
API
tier
scores
graphics card or
to
the
our best
lowest
API
tier?
scores. The best versus the best. And as you can see, the 6800 XT trades blows and has some
Ooh, they said the
significant
layest
wins
offering.
across a variety of titles. And it does
Oh,
all
and
of
they're
this
300
because power
watts
consumption
apparently,
in the
as opposed to the
competition. For
320 watts
1440
from
gamers
the
out
3080.
there, we have some great results for you too. Over the last several years, more and more gamers have adopted.
They're comparing this to
1440
the
monitors
to the
as their
3080
display of choice. Here are
or the
same games
2080.
we showed you before, running the same
No,
3080,
best
3080. Okay,
API
okay.
scenario
So this can't be
at
their top of the
1440p
line.
resolution. I personally love seeing so many games running at over 100 frames per second with all of the settings maxed out.
40p.
This is just an incredible amount of performance. All in all, the 6800 XT.
I don't know if I missed this,
fantastic
but I'm
choice
wondering if
for
they
reducing
mentioned
gaming.
if this
We
is
even
with
have more
ray tracing
performance we are
on.
delivering with two very cool features. The first is a one-click overclocking button we've built into our Radeon software package that we call Rage Mode. Now, Rage Mode automatically takes advantage of the overclocking headroom
Rage Mode.
built into your GPU to give you every bit of performance it has to offer. And the second is made possible because of the fact that only AMD can deliver both high-performance processors and high-performance GPUs. We
Interesting.
call this new feature AMD Smart Access Memory. AMD Smart Access Memory unlocks the greater amount of high-speed memory from the AMD Radeon RX 6000 series graphics cards to the AMD Ryzen 5000 series processors, and it delivers additional.
I'm
levels
actually
of
surprised
performance
this
in
hasn't
games.
already been a thing.
Simply pair these components with our 500 series chipset motherboards, enable the setting in the BIOS, and the performance uplift becomes automatic. When you combine AMD Smart Access Memory with the one-click overclocking of Rage Mode, you'll get a boost in performance in many of the games you love. We're seeing up to a 13% performance increase. And that's before game developers begin to optimize for this new capability. Now, we know a lot of you absolutely love frames per
See, this is
second,
actually kind of
just like
interesting because they're
However,
trying to make
we
a
can
good
also
case now
improve
for
the gaming
pairing
experience by reducing latency.
their CPUs
The
with their
difference is a
GPUs.
millisecond
Yeah,
of
but
latency.
that's what I'm
And-
saying. Like I'm
Competitive
just
games
really
can be the
surprised
difference
that
between a
they
major
haven't
win
had some type
and
of
a
boost
major loss.
when you pair the two
Last
before.
year, we pushed the industry to recognize there was a better way to
I mean,
play
the way I look at it is
with
like
less
if you have
latency,
a
from mouse click to
a
the screen,
G-Sync
giving competitive gamers who own the RX 5000
a
series
G-Sync
a serious
GPU
leg
and a
up
G-Sync
on their
monitor,
competition.
you know what I mean?
Today,
They
we are
work
pushing the boundaries
hand in hand
again
together
and
with that
further
type of
reducing
technology.
latency in competitive
So I'm
games
just
for
surprised
even
that they
better results.
AMD
Combining
that
the
offers
latest
both the
implementation of
CPU and the
Radeon
GPU that they
anti-lag
didn't already
with the
have something
FreeSync
like this.
monitor can reduce lag
Don't get me
with
wrong,
the
this is
DX9
cool.
and
It's
future
absolutely
DX11 games.
awesome. I'm just
In
saying I'm
Fortnite,
surprised
for
that they didn't already have
gamers
something
can
like this.
realize up to 8 milliseconds
Yeah, I mean, I
of
feel
latency
like
reduction by
they've only
simply enabling this
recently
feature in Radeon
started
software. More
making
recently,
like
we introduced
bigger
Radeon
waves, I
Boost,
guess, in the
a
CPU
unique
market
feature that's a
with
step
their
beyond
past
anti-lag. For select games,
this
Radeon Boost
past
offers
gen
dynamic
of Ryzen
resolution in
CPUs.
response to your mouse or
They've
controller
gained a lot of
inputs,
popularity as
leading
far
to
as
higher
like
frame
people
rates
buying the
and, as a
CPUs
result,
as
quicker
opposed like going
responses
with
to your
those instead of the
Both
Intel ones.
Radeon anti-lag
Yeah.
and
So I feel
Radeon
like
Boost
that's gonna continue even more with these new CPUs, and now with this whole situation where they're kind of like saying that if you're using our CPU and you use our GPU, then you'll get better performance. People might be more inclined to choose their GPUs over Nvidia ones.
This is
Since so
true.
many people, like a lot more people now, are building computers with AMD CPUs.
How we are improving the visual experience as well. With full hardware support for DX12 Ultimate, the Radeon RX 6000 series is ready to enable ray tracing and variable rate shading in upcoming titles. We've also expanded our library of Fidelity FX features to work hand in hand with ray tracing, compute, and shader effects to enable the higher level of visual fidelity while ensuring high frame rates. For DX12 Ultimate, we've added an optimized denoiser for ray tracing effects and a variable rate shading algorithm that can adapt image quality based upon luminance and motion. We've also added a suite of compute-based effects to be used alongside ray tracing, like optimized screen space reflections and an optimized ambient occlusion. We're always looking to help developers with new initiatives and are already working on a super resolution feature to give gamers an option for more performance when using ray tracing. As of today, our
By
AMD
super
Fidelity
resolution, they
FX
probably
supported
mean
games list has grown to
upscale
35 titles
sampling.
using a variety of our features. So, let's take a look at some of these new features in an upcoming game with never-before-seen footage.
Yeah, something like the DLSS stuff.
Fantastic
Yeah.
game, Godfall. Godfall is a brand new third-person
Okay, I'm guessing the
perspective,
Fidelity
next-generation
FX
looter
stuff
slash
is what they're
that
referring to as
challenges gamers
ray
to
tracing.
engage in high-impact melee combat
Yes.
as they hunt for loot,
All right.
equip legendary armor, and defeat vicious enemies.
So what do you think about this game now that you've seen
Leveraging
more?
the
I
latest
think you're pretty hyped for
DirectX
this game,
Ultimate
right?
API, Godfall features DirectX
It looks
Ray
cool.
Tracing,
It looks better than,
shading,
well, it looks
and
more
supports
interesting to me
Fidelity
than it
FX
did when I
paths
first saw
to
it.
deliver incredible levels of stunning
The
fidelity.
combat and I feel
personally
like
can't
they've
wait to play this
polished the
game,
combat and all
I
that
think it
stuff a
looks
little bit more.
absolutely fantastic.
So it just
Now,
looks
let's hear from a
like,
few more of
I
our
don't know,
game
it looks
developer partners
cooler
about the work
when you
they've
see it
done
in
with us
action
on
now.
RDNA 2, and what you
And
can
depending on
expect
how,
in their games
like, I
coming
guess
soon.
deep the combat is, it might feel more satisfying than I thought it would before. I thought it was more like a hack and slash kind of combat situation, but it looks like it's a little more strategic than that. So, ooh, Far Cry 6.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd say it's as strategic as like Assassin's Creed, like that type of hack and slash where you do need to strategize, but it still looks very much like a hack and slash to me.
I feel like it might be a little more like God of War or Ghost of Tsushima.
To use a compute shader to generate a control texture, which analyzes the luminance and gives us.
I have to take a closer look at the
you know
combat
what?
breakdown videos.
No, to be fair, you haven't played the most recent Assassin's Creed ones. They a bit more focused on combat and parrying and stuff like that.
Okay.
We're excited to team up with great partners like AMD to bring some new feed to World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft is built
I show a little more footage of all of these games.
Another great feature on the RX 6000 is Dxr Ray Tracing. Here you can see ray tracing evident and how the shadows are interacting with your character. What you're seeing involves incredibly
you know, it's funny. I was literally just thinking, is World of Warcraft really the best game to show off for ray tracing? But after seeing the comparison, it actually does look pretty good.
The RDNA 2 architecture.
It's like when I see people show off Minecraft videos, yeah, with RTX on. Like you don't think it'll add that much to it, but it kind of does a little bit. Like when you see the difference.
It's night and day, big time.
That provide much more immersion and detail into the world.
Over the next few weeks, developers of these incredible games will show never-before-seen gameplay with gorgeous graphics that use a combination of ray tracing and fidelity effects running on the Radeon RX 6000 series graphics cards. Be sure to check out AMD.com starting tomorrow to see more. I'm happy to announce that the Radeon RX 6800 XT will be available on November 18th, starting at $649. But we are not done yet. Today, we are also announcing the Radeon RX 6800 with 60 compute units, a 1.815
I think that's
gigahertz
a
game
couple
clock
weeks after
with
the
a boost
CPUs.
clock of over
Yeah.
2.1 gigahertz. It will feature the same 128 megabytes of Infinity cache and be available with 16 gigabytes of GDDR6 memory. With a board power of just
So not the new
250
GDDR6X memory, the standard GDDR6.
delivering more performance than the 2080 Ti, which was launched at 900.
Yeah, I don't think any of their GPUs are
6800
gonna have
delivers
the
over 60 frames per second in
GDDR6X.
all of these games, giving
You
the
think that's
confidence
exclusive
you need
to
step into the 4K gaming
Nvidia?
experience. That same great performance
If it's
extends to
if it's
1440p
exclusive, as in like
where the
They're the
AMD
only-
won't be able to use it at
tears through the
all,
latest games,
or like if
delivering
it's
about
just like they
18%
have,
more performance
since they
than
kind of
2080
helped develop
Ti
it or
on
something,
average.
they have
The
early
Radeon
access to
RX
it.
6800
Okay,
will be
okay.
available to gamers starting at a price of $579 on November 18th. Now, let's bring back Lisa to wrap things up.
So just remind me, the 3080 is 800, right?
Yes.
And they
No, it's 700, I
Thanks,
think.
Scott and
The
Laura.
Founders Edition.
AMD Radeon
Oh,
6800
okay,
Uh,
700 for
just-
the founders. I think the
6800
standard
delivers
is
simply
800.
incredible 4K and 1440p gaming experiences.
I'm
Let me
pretty
just
sure it
double
was.
check real
Power
quick.
of RDNA 2.
So
And once we add
this
the smart
6800.
Yeah, it's 700.
technology, gamers can even get higher frames per second.
So this
when
one's
pairing
$649.
Radeon
It was
6000
$50 cheaper.
GPUs with Ryzen 5000 series.
And
Now,
it's
I saw online that some
supposedly
of you
can
were wondering
outperform
which
with
big
less
Navi product
power
would preview
consumption.
during our Ryzen 5000 launch earlier
Yeah.
this month. For the record, that was the 6800 XT. But you know, we always save the best for last, and I always get the most fun jobs. So today, that means I have one more GPU to show you. We
You
didn't
think this
stop
is
with
going to
the
be
Radeon RX
better than the
6800 XT.
3090?
We knew that the RDNA 2 architecture could give gamers even more.
Let's see.
I'm so excited
One
to
more
share with you
GPU.
for the very first time the AMD Radeon RX 6900 XT. Now, isn't this
It's not
just
as big.
absolutely gorgeous? And you'll see that it's actually relatively compact for all the performance that it delivers. It's actually the same size as our
6900 XT.
6800 XT.
Okay.
It looks like they just grabbed the Robin throwing stars and just threw them in there.
4K gaming performance. The 6900 XT combines 80 compute units with a 2.25 gigahertz boost clock to deliver even more performance at the highest settings. With 16 gigabytes of graphics memory, the 6900
What the price is
XT
for this?
ready
That's what
the
I
most
wanna know.
demanding next-gen games. And with the power efficiency of RDNA 2, we've been able to deliver all of this with a total board power of 300 watts. Now, Laura showed you that we
gigs.
achieved a 54%
What was the? How many gigs did the
per watt with the
6800 XT have?
With
I
the
don't remember.
6900 XT, we
16.
improved things even more, hitting 65%
Oh, 16 also?
more performance per watt over first-gen
Okay.
RDNA. I'm so proud of our engineers who worked incredibly hard to optimize every aspect of RDNA 2 to achieve this performance. Now let's see how all of this translates to gaming performance. Running at 4K with the highest settings, the 6900 XT looks absolutely fantastic. It's extremely competitive across the board, consistently delivering high frame
Okay.
rates in your favorite games.
But I think the
Let's take a look
3090
at the
has
performance we'll see
more
against
memory. It
competition
doesn't it come in
in
like 20 or
Battlefield
25?
5, Call of Duty, and Gears of
4,
War
I
5.
think. 24
All
of
of this is at lower
GDDR
power with a
6X.
smaller card
6X,
form factor.
which makes
Now,
a difference.
Let's talk about price and availability. The AMD Radeon
Yeah.
RX 6900 XT will be available
Whoa.
by December
I-
8th,
that's
starting
big.
at $999.
She
You
said
asked
lower.
for AMD
All of
to
this
bring
with
the
low.
highest
Oh,
graphics performance
1000.
to the
Okay.
gaming market, and we're doing just that. I hope you now feel that with the Ryzen 5000 series and the Radeon 6000 series, AMD is your best.
That's good. I mean, they
choice for
showed it
next generation PC gaming.
outperforming
Whether you want to game
Well,
ultimate
the
performance
3090
AAA
in
titles
4K.
with 4K resolution,
In some it
or you're an
outperformed,
esports
some
fan who needs
it did less,
incredibly
but it
high
was
frame
pretty
rates and
competitive across the board.
responsiveness.
And for
Across the board,
$500
for every
cheaper,
gamer, at every price,
that's
AMD
actually
has
very
the
Yeah.
compelling.
CPU and GPU combination for you. So I
Yeah.
hope you're as excited as we are.
I mean,
We can't wait to
$500
get these
less,
products
you
in
give
your
up a little bit of
hands.
the
So
memory,
look for the Ryzen
and it's not the
5000
faster
series
memory
starting
like the
November 5th,
Nvidia one
Radeon
has.
RX
But I think
6900
that's a fair
series starting
compromise,
November
especially
18th,
if the performance
and
is
the
almost
Radeon
identical.
RX 6900 XT starting
I think for
December 8th.
gaming it is
To
for
wrap
sure,
up
because
here,
like I
this
feel
has
like
been quite a month
Nvidia
for us,
painted their
and I'm
3090
incredibly
as
proud of
like
our
a
CPU and
gaming
GPU teams who have
GPU,
worked
but it's
years
not really
for this
meant
moment.
for gaming. I mean, at least
AMD
not
is
for
delivering the best
the people
to
who
the
are
industry.
actually going to be
We
interested in
want to
buying
thank
it.
all of
Right.
you for your
Like it's
passion and
more
enthusiasm
for
and
like
for
more
always pushing us to do the
professional
best.
use.
Yeah.
And nobody's actually gaming at 8K now anyway, so it's like It's kind of just like a moot point.
Well, what do you mean? You don't have an 8K monitor at home? Come on, man.
Just one of the few that I have lying around.
That's right. All right, so I'm gonna lower this volume and we can continue talking. So go ahead. You were saying?
Yeah, no. It seems like they focused more on their highest end GPU focused more on the gaming performance for it, where it made sense, as opposed to Nvidia. But I want to look at those charts again because I'm curious as to whether they mentioned, if these cards were, if the performance they showed were these cards running 4K with like forms of ray tracing, and like also if they were using the upscaling technology for this stuff. Because like when Nvidia showed off their charts, they made sure to specify that it was with DLSS 2.0 and with RTX on.
Yeah, they were pretty transparent. And to be fair, I want to give them credit too. To be fair, when we saw the AMD CPU presentation, they were pretty transparent too with their numbers.
Yeah.
So I would expect this one to be the same, but specs, here we go. All right, I'm trying to look it up, but the event literally just ended, so we might be just a smidge too early.
Wait, a smidge too early on.
I'm looking up the stats again.
Oh, I just like scrolled back through the
through the event.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at the numbers now. They do mention that it was using the smart access memory, so it's assumed. Oh wait, these are. Okay, so for the 6800, they were actually comparing it to the RTX 2080 Ti.
Oh, the 2080? I thought I saw 3080 on there.
Yeah. No. For the 6800 XT, they were comparing it to the 3080. But the regular, the 6800, not XT, they were comparing it to the 2080 Ti.
So basically the 3070.
Yeah, essentially.
Okay.
I want to check back to see how much. Okay, 16 gigs.
Yeah, honestly, 500. You save $500 and get roughly the same performance as the 3090. That's coming in at $1,500. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is very compelling. And then when you let's be honest, AMD has the best CPU out on the market right now. So most likely, I mean, I know they're diehard Intel fans, but most likely you're gonna get an AMD in your build, and now you have an incentive to pair it with an AMD GPU.
Yeah, for sure. And then I think another big thing too is that their lowest end GPU, the 6800, has 16 gigabytes of memory as a GDDR6 memory, as opposed to, I think, the 8 gigabytes of memory that the RTX 3070 has.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
that's double the memory.
Yeah, right off the bat.
And the performance is like around the same, because they were comparing it to the 2080 Ti, and that's what that's what Nvidia said the 3070 performs better than.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this is interesting. I could honestly see Intel leaping ahead, not ahead, AMD leaping ahead of Intel. As far as not only performance but also financially. I mean, that's a tall order, because Intel has been making money for, I don't know, the last 2 decades. But this could be a new generation for AMD.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see when the Rocket Lake CPUs come out, how they compare as far as performance. But They're already behind on like the nanometer process as well. I think the ones that are coming out next year are also for on the 14 or 15 nanometer.
Let's talk about that a
And
little bit.
AMD's.
So
Yeah.
for those of you, I mean, I know this is a live stream, but maybe some more people in the future are gonna go back and look at this. What Lou is referring to when it comes to the nanometer, he's talking about the size of the die, right? This is the CPU, the physical size, 14 nanometers, so roughly about this big, maybe more. And then the newer CPUs from AMD, they're running, what was it, 7 nanometers?
Yeah, and 7 nanometers, and they're moving on to the
To
5
5,
nanometer
right?
already.
So the reason why that's huge is because essentially you're half the size, which means you generate less heat. And that's the biggest problem with these Intel chips, is that they run extremely hot. And they've always been that way. And that's one thing I've admired about AMD, is historically they've been a little bit behind when it comes to performance, but by the time they catch up to where AMD was at that point, they're able to do it more efficiently, generating less power, less heat, not generating, consuming less power, less electrical current power, and basically giving you the same performance for a cheaper cost too. So, and now we see that's the case even still. They're outperforming Intel's chips at half the physical size. That's very impressive to me.
Yeah, I recently saw some benchmarks for the recent Ryzen CPUs, and it looks like even the lower one, Ryzen, not the Ryzen 3, I think it's the Ryzen 5, outperforms the. I'm gonna take a look at the charts again so as not to misinform our viewers, but it looks like it's outperforming either one of the top or the top Intel chips in single core performance, which I think has typically the performance crown for that has typically gone to Intel. So
yes,
that's interesting.
Yes, it has. Yeah, no. AMD right now is outperforming Intel in both single core and multi-core performance. You know, way to go, Intel. Not Intel. Way to go, AMD.
And not to mention, their CPUs are still the only ones that support PCIe 4.
For now.
Intel has said that, for now. Intel has said that the new CPUs are going to, the ones that come out next year. But
right.
For now, they are the only ones that support that. So if you have a PCIe 4.0 NVMe drive, you want the fastest speeds possible, you're going to need an AMD CPU and an AMD motherboard.
For now. But yes, it's true. Okay. So, I know this was a short notice, sort of live kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of the event time kind of crept up on us.
Okay, I figured. Sorry, I was googling what the code was. So the code on the guy's shirt was actually a Konami code that gives you 30 extra lives on Contra.
On Contra, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I remember that game. I think I had it for the PS1.
Probably.
Yeah. Wait, was it Contra the first? No, I think it was like Contra 3 though for the PS1.
Yeah, this looks really old. I wouldn't be surprised if this was on like the original Nintendo. I think it was. Okay. But no, it was bothering me when I saw that guy's shirt again, so I had to go look it up. Like I was saying, this was sort of like a last minute live meeting, a live you know, kind of thing. To be honest, this event snuck up on me, just like the CPU event did too. Like, I don't know, AMD, for some reason, they just keep falling behind in my mind. And then next thing you know, their event is here, and it's like, oh, snap. We got to scramble last minute to cover it. It's not on purpose, AMD, I promise.
I think it's just Nvidia got so much like hype around their RTX cards when their event came out, and like a lot of people were just like not even expecting AMD to be able to compete with them.
Yeah.
On that level, but you know, it looks like their cards are going to be doing just fine, and some of them have even more memory than, well, a lot more memory than the Nvidia ones. So for cheaper prices, so it'll be an interesting situation when these come out. Hopefully their stock is better than Nvidia's. By stock I mean just like the actual
availability
products, how well they're stocked.
Yeah, well, listen, this year has sucked for pre-orders. That's all I'm gonna say.
Sure. I mean, they're hopefully also like with the release of the 3070, I think comes out this week or has come out already. And then with these new cards, there might be just like more to go around as far as GPUs. So maybe it'll get better as far as just like trying to purchase one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, I'll say it again. They're doing it at a cheaper price, which is very impressive. And it seems like you're getting similar performance.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'm tempted to go. I'm very tempted actually to go with either the 6800 or the 6800 XT.
And you'd still have enough
to like one of the RTX cards.
You could literally buy the high-end AMD CPU and GPU for the same price as the 3090.
Wait, how much was the, I can't remember, how much was wasn't the CPU, the highest end CPU, like $700 or something like that?
Wasn't it 5? I thought it was 5.
I think the Ryzen 5 was like around the 500 mark, but I think the Ryzen 9 was around 700 if I'm not mistaken. I can look it up right now. 50 Ryzen.
I was going to, but you go ahead. What up, Raph?
You go to these pages for the prices. They show you a ton of like,
oh yeah,
sections on the different features and like the specs. But where is the price? Price. Here we go.
Hey, what up, Brady?
Okay.
Brady making an appearance.
Hey. Price. Okay, here we go.
You're ignoring the chat. Everyone say hi to you.
Who, to me?
Yeah.
Oh. Hey guys. I'm like in another tab right now. I'm looking at the prices. What up, Raph? It looks like the 5,000. Okay. Yeah, the Ryzen 9. Oh, it depends on which one. Okay, so it depends on which one. The Ryzen 9 5900X is $549.
Okay.
But the 5950X is $800.
Ooh, 800.
That's probably just overkill for what I need it for anyway. So I'm gonna say I probably don't need the 5950.
All right, I take back what I said about the Nvidia GPU.
I mean that the Ryzen 9 that's a step down. The second, I guess, tier is $549. So that's still pretty.
It's pretty close. It's a $50 difference.
Yeah. So you aren't wrong. I could get the 6900X XT and the 5900X for about the same price as a 30 was it 3090 RTX 3090.
3090, yep. $1,500 and it's out of stock everywhere. You have better luck finding these, both of these. When did they say December? December 8 or something?
December for the 6900 XT. December.
What about the CPUs?
The highest end one. The CPUs are coming out in November. I think November 5th. They're coming out November 5th.
Okay. All right, let's take a look at the comments here. We got George saying, I'd be interested in the 6900 mostly for the memes and also the performance. I agree with you,
mostly
man.
for the memes. What memes?
I don't know. I mean, I keep thinking about the Robin logo in the middle of each of these fans.
Yeah, that's the meme for me.
Let me see if I can find it.
I mean, I will say though, I like the way the RTX cards look more than the Radeon cards, but I mean, I can deal with that. It's fine.
Yeah.
They don't look bad. I think the RTX cards look a lot cleaner.
You like that one, Raph? That's the Robin. That's the new Robin Batarang.
What they need to do is for the the Arkham Knights game, include that for free with the purchase of one of the Radeon cards.
Or at least a special Robin skin or something. Okay. So, shout out to the 7 of you watching live. This will be available on YouTube under the live tab. Again, this was thrown together last minute, so apologize. Next time I'll do my best to set it as a premiere so that everyone knows and sees and can be there ahead of time. So shout out to those of you watching live, those commenting, things like that. Those that will watch it later. Thank you, Lou, for joining this live as well. Both of us are actually working in the middle of our workday, and we had to kind of step away for this. So shout out to Nvidia for lining this event up with our lunchtime. And and oh jeez.
Speaking of Nvidia, though, if you guys haven't checked out our Nvidia coverage, go check out those videos.
That's right. Podcast. That's right. We did a Nvidia podcast clip. So go check that one out. It's pretty cool. Speaking of, did you know that